What is up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome, everybody, to the 20xx Last Chance qualifiers. I am unfortunately a little blurred up. I blame my webcam for that one, but I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Kyon. On the other side, yes, I got the direction right this time, is Nito with me on the mic. Nito, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
I'm tilted, apparently, because my webcam's also a little messed up. I don't know. It seems like this wire is tilting it every time I move, so at one point I will be a Dutch angle.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, hey, sometimes we gotta be angular as much as we can. We of course are broadcasting the 20xx Last Chance qualifiers. Of course, the other feed on Dapples as well. But we got ourselves the IPL feed. We will and for those who are wondering what's at stake here, we already have 7 teams that qualify for 20xx League already. We need to figure out one team to qualify. So you can only finish first. You can't finish top 3. Now, so let's see. So we're curious to see how this plays out. And yes, we got a beautiful graphics. Shout out to our producer for this one. Nito, it's safe to say a lot's at stake here.
Yeah, I mean, this is the last spot for any team, really. We have 28 of them signed up already, so we can expect to get things started pretty quickly here. But I mean, I think enough has been said, but because of how high the stakes are in this tournament, and especially for teams looking for a literal last chance at getting into this league, where you're going to be seeing a lot of star power and a lot of very high level teams here.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing we're going to have. So we're going to do a quick introduction to teams because both teams are all going to be set and ready to go here. Geomancy versus, I think it's a Legends. I'm going to pronounce that right, I swear. Our 2 teams here coming up. Bronze Alley, Echo, and OBT. Very familiar names on Geomancy. Also established. Legends, to our knowledge, is a pickup, but also 3/5 inked as well, for those who remember members like Batson, Astro, and Amino Acids, but other members like Coffee Reaper and Disease rounds out that roster. That's going to be our first round for winners. Others, and we're gonna hop over to our maps. I believe this will be best of 3s, at least to get things started. Ramen Zones will be the opener here, Nito.
Ramen, and actually, one thing to note about this map pool is that there is no Rainmaker. It's all you're only going to be seeing zones, tower control, and clam blitz. So get used to these 3 modes. I'm certainly used to them already. I'm a big zones, clams, tower fan, and a big Rainmaker hater. No, I'm not.
I mean, you could obviously be the big Rainmaker hater everybody has, and apparently, and on our side, well, we got to share a little bit of love here, across the board. Of course, you mentioned too, no Rainmaker, but also half zones, 3 tower controls, and 3 clan blitz maps. So only 3 modes, and only half of it primarily zones. So this shouldn't be much of a surprise here. We're gonna get set into our first game here in winners round 1. Of course, Geomancy's on the alpha side. On the other side will be Legends. If we take a look at the weapons here, Tetras and everything else, I am amused by the weapons.
I do want to point out that in astrosendo.inc bio, it says I play anything that's in the meta. So I appreciate the honesty, and you're certainly seeing some of that honesty right now. Astronet, Sniper Rider, Batson using the the mini splatling, which is a staple for Batson. But it's working out pretty well, actually. That's that first splat's coming out from both sides. 90 remaining for Geomancy, who gets first dibs on the zone. OBT looking to keep zone, but that is a huge threat from the triple splashdown. Legence, I believe, gets the first control of the zone.
I'll roll with Legence for the pronunciation there because I think that also sounds better. Batson's gonna get shut down there by Ali as well on the Tetris. It's gonna be a pretty even matchup right away here between both of these teams. So gonna be curious to see how. Honestly, the weapons are a little all over the board, to say the least. I know you said Batson, masters of the mini splatling. I guess I'll say masters in that regard, but one of their primary weapons. Gonna be curious to see how it meshes with the Nautilus and the CRB that is in place. Speaking of the CRB, Coffee right away with the Kraken using that as there is a DC on the board. Somebody has disappeared into the void right away, and they're gonna play this one out. I won't be able to infer what happens in this scenario. Most that we can say though is that Geomancy is gonna be holding onto the zone.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just gonna play it out at this point, and well, why not? I mean, you've already got three players, or two. I say 3 players down. It might as well be 3 players down. I guess that's a whole wipeout for Geomancy, and that's gonna be the first game, I believe, going to Geomancy. It was actually a pretty close matchup there I saw from both teams, and very well thought out with the way those pushes were coming from both sides. But ultimately, it's gonna come down to that DC and come into the favor of Geomancy.
And I know we don't like to put too much light on the DC, but that really was exactly almost a turning point because I felt like we were about to see a pretty even game between Geomancy and Legence play out with the way both teams were ultimately trading there. I was more curious to see how the advantage would be had there with the Kraken, of course, the bubble and that trip splashdown, being able to output a lot of paint. But all we can enter into, Nito, is a bunch of what ifs by the end of that. So. But at the end of the day, Geomancy, as you noted, will take the first game here, and it looks like from the DC, yeah, it was Batson that unfortunately had the DC mini splatling disappearing off the radar.
And so you talked about weird weapon comps. I'm old enough to remember when OBT was playing Dynamo weapons back in the olden days of what was, I think, 2022, 23 Aquatic Vanguard. So this whole, I mean, it's still new to me watching OBT play a sloshing machine, although I know that's what he was playing before then, but I don't know, it's still, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. But apart from that, Game 2, Tower Control on Inkblot, we did get a small sample size of what both teams brought out, but I believe, I'm starting to get the idea of what Tower Control might look like. I don't know if you are. I want to see what you think.
Honestly, as much as I could try to get a read for how Inkblot TC plays, especially with how often it gets played anyway, almost the final destination of all Tower Control maps. I feel like it's good. I wouldn't be surprised if Geomancy sticks with the same, but given the wackiness of Legence, probably I'd imagine just a few weapon changes, but that's all I can get a read on there, Nito.
Yeah, there is just a bit for us to work with, but here at 20XX we work with a lot of small things and a lot of big things, and this is one of the small things we got to work with. But you know what? We're gonna get some more data on both of these teams as we head into Game 2, which is going to be Tower Control on Inkblot Art Academy. Already match point, as this is a best of 2 or best of 3. Best of 3. No, Geomancy, you still have another match to play.
I don't think there's a best of 2, and I don't know how the math works out for that. I think we're gonna need to get you a little waking up there as the day goes right along. Maybe we'll figure out all that. By the way, the game is happening, of course. Sniper duel, by the way, on both sides in the 52. I believe gonna be the main changes with the from both these teams there. Legence looking to see if they can get as much value as they can from the 52. Again, evenly matched so far until Geomancy going 3 down right away. The cooler's been dished out. This is gonna be a very early cooler though, as 3 members are just gonna be coming out of respawns. Legence probably will be dishing out the same coolers themselves. Approaching the first checkpoint here, Nito, is Legence.
And if the first 2 seconds of that, or first 2 minutes of that first match were of any indication, I think this might be a game of huge number advantages and seeing which team gets the most triples, which team gets the most wipes, because these people, in full power alone, full strength, can do so much and wreak so much havoc to another team. Notice how well Geomancy is keeping Legence back. Even with 4 players, everyone seems to be strung out a bit. But OBT starting to take a more aggressive stance with that Inkzuka. But with everyone in, there's so much that both of these teams can do that at some point you're just gonna have to find all the advantages you can take. And with any triple and any wipe you get, that is huge, especially with how these games are being played.
Advantages is gonna be the key thing there, especially with trades that can happen there. We saw the earlier 2-for-2 trade, as I'm not gonna pay too much attention to what's going on that front. The 2-for-2 trade there at least forces Legence back, and the thing I'll be worried about here is of course how this game kind of plays out in terms of not just being able to weaponize their specials, but also just the flow of the game, how teams can take advantage from one after the other. Speaking of advantages, 3 members down by the way from Legence. Geomancy will be trying to repeat the same push that Legence did to them, approaching the first checkpoint here as well. Nito.
Some more range as OBT goes up into bats. Gets 1 player down, 2 players down for Legence. Geomancy now looking to open up their lead and actually get their lead. They will be getting it soon. That's 56 remaining, enough for them to start leading the matchup here as Geomancy continues their push. Few more players going down on Legence. This is what we were talking about with advantages, and maybe I was talking about triples and wipes, but when you keep a team staggered like this, that is even better because now Legence is having to find all of these opportunities to get themselves back in. One by one, they keep themselves going down. Now all of a sudden, you have to find something new to work around. Batson getting 2 players down, 3 players down for Geomancy. Legence looking to get themselves back in the game.
We saw the earlier 2 down scenario there that happened with Geomancy, and then Batson being able to get a few more by themselves, but also really helping their cause. But again, that second checkpoint is just so hard to break here in Inkblock TC, so it's good. So that's a good foothold that Geomancy had so far. Now 2 members did go down at this stage. We do have an Ultra Stamp that is available along with the whale if they want to weaponize that. Look to see if the 52 gal is going to try to get some value, which, by the way, Coffee is going to be the one that's wielding it until they go down themselves. I don't think it's going to phase them too much there. Ultra Stamp toss. That was beautiful there. Batson takes out Bronze, but there is members going down left and right from Legence here. They just need to clear this very tricky second checkpoint. Coffee's still staying alive, but by the end of all this, but that tower might be resetting just in time. Astra's not going to try to push too far up. They can't clear the second checkpoint yet, but that looked pretty decent coming out of Legence.
Looked pretty decent is the right phrase for this because I haven't seen an Ultra Stamp that smooth in a while. Right over Bats, gets Bronze. That is great news for Batson, but for the rest of Legence, still looking to get themselves past that second checkpoint. 3 players going down, so it's probably not going to happen anytime soon. With a minute to go, Legence is going to need to find some way to move themselves back in. Echo teleports backwards for going down. Ali still traveling on Bats, has some backup there from one of the other players, but it's